I stands firm with his recent mental health comments. I'm not depressed, but I need to bring mental awareness to awareness health. Okay, okay, guys. Hasan implies Asmongold hiding behind the government to engage in violent rhetoric. What is this here? This is about me? Okay, here it is. Okay, let's see what it says.
He calls for violence. His calls for violence don't stop at torture. He calls for immigrant families to be killed.
Immigrant families.
Yeah, but remember, Asmongold is not engaging in violent rhetoric because he's using what the government is doing and justifying it and demanding more of it. And therefore,
well, yeah, obviously, like the government is the main, like yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, obviously, like that's the way the government works. It's like we put people in jail and not put people in jail based off of a democratic conclusion. Like that's entirely how it works. Like it's not bad to want something to have a violent solution, but it is bad when that violent solution isn't arrived at democratically. The problem isn't like it's not the idea of somebody being violent, it's the idea of somebody doing it as a vigilante. That's the issue. That's always been the issue. Because really, I mean, whenever you think about it like a prison, right? I mean, like, if a prison is kidnapping, basically. Like, the government is taking you and they're putting you in a box and they're saying you can't leave. Well, if I go down the street and I just go capture somebody and I do that, well, they're going to say I kidnapped them. So what's the difference? So wanting force to be exercised in a certain direction, that's not... This isn't congruent with vigilante justice. It's just not.
Or it doesn't read as violent.
Yeah.
But if you were to say,
because it's not.
People have a right to defend themselves against such unjustifiable actions, you would be the violent one.
Well, absolutely, because there's a completely different power imbalance. So, for example, like people have the right to defend themselves. You can just look at that. He's making an abstract argument because, you know, if you apply this to an individual situation, it won't make any sense. So, like, for example, you could say, well, you have the right to defend yourself against the police that are trying to arrest you while you're drunk driving. Well, obviously, you shouldn't be able to do that, right? That's insane. So the problem is that we have to have a set of rules that society agrees upon that everybody follows. Now, whether those rules are violent, whether those rules are draconian, or whether those rules are very liberal, that doesn't necessarily matter. What matters is that everybody follows the rules. And I understand people might say that's authoritarian. No, it's not. It's common sense. The fact is that, you know, you go to China and everybody's following the rules. You go to most places in America, everybody's following the rules. So the moment that you don't hold people to that standard and you say, oh, well, it doesn't matter if you follow the rules or not, well, then everybody is going to invent their own solution for the rules that they disagree with. And when you have everybody deciding that, oh, well, I'm not going to follow this rule, I'm not going to follow that rule, well, then no rules are followed and the entire thing's chaos. So I really don't think this is a comparison at all. I don't. It's crazy to even say.
Defend themselves against such unjustifiable actions, you would be the violent one.
And that's the reason why, for example, you're able to defend yourself in self-defense, but you're not able to shoot somebody randomly. It's because one of them is sanctioned by the government and the other one is not. This is just obvious common sense.
And this is the dynamic that right-wingers actually use all the time. And
yeah, that's right. People, and also, like, what is this? That right-wing people want to have the law be upheld? I mean, like, what is the argument here? I don't even understand this.
That's precisely the reason why they can turn around and say Charlie Kirk wasn't a violent person.
Well, he wasn't a violent person. It's true. It's a definitive reality that he's not violent. I mean, it's not even a question. Like, when did he beat somebody up or hit anybody? So he's not violent.
Never advocated for violence. He advocated for state violence, and state violence is always permissible.
Of course it's always permissible because it's arrived at by a democratic consensus. That's the reason why the government exists in a ethical way, is that you have a democratic consensus for making decisions for the government. Duh. Obviously. Of course.
You're almost bald, Hasan? Wait, what?
Oh,
My
no.
fingers have fucking eyeballs. It's so shocking whenever they say stuff like that. A lot of people, they don't actually think about politics as organizing around specific goals.
Yeah.
They think about it as personalities that they despise or personalities that they find relatable.
Right. I mean, that's true.
And
He's right.
For a lot of people like that, they've already decided that I'm like a villain. So even
based off of a clip that they saw where you said something that they didn't like. Yeah, that's the way it goes.
If they agree with 100% of my worldview, they most likely will never even entertain openly stating that they agree with me. But I don't really mind it necessarily. I think
it's good for him.
If they're, if someone is
very good for him,
going from being an Asmongold fan to like, I don't know, door knocking for Zohran Mamdani.
Yeah.
And they fucking hate me, but they're door knocking for Zohran Mamdani. I think it's weird. It's definitely weird. I think they would probably enjoy this community, but I'll take that W. A lot of those people have been so unimaginably well poisoned that they will rarely ever turn around and go, you know what, Hasan was actually right. I was wrong about him. Most people don't ever recognize that they were wrong. Why should they? I'm just a random fucking dickhead on the internet from their perspective.
I mean, that's what happens with everybody, for sure. But yeah, obviously it's different if the state is doing something. That's the reason why the state can arrest somebody and you can't. It's pretty simple, honestly. I don't know why it's so confusing, but yeah, very clearly the state doing something versus you doing something, there's a pretty big difference there, right? And I don't know why people think that's confusing. I certainly don't. But I mean, citizen's arrest? Well, citizen's arrest is another great example. The idea of a citizen's arrest is something that is sanctioned by the government as well. So you make this argument as like this is an exception, but it's actually part of the rule because this is something that's also sanctioned by the government. That's fake. Yeah, citizen's arrest isn't real. Okay, well then you shouldn't be doing it, right? I mean, and if you do it and then the police come, you might get in trouble. So you don't want to do that. And anyway, so that's generally the way I see it. As limits on Agreed. Why does he always play the victim and patronizing people? I don't know, right? I have no idea. But either way, I think obviously you want to talk about violent rhetoric, right? I mean, it's just, again, of course the state should be able to do that. The problem is whenever people want to create their own groups and then force the violence themselves. That's the big issue.